Welcome back, everybody. To sign up for my free newsletter called Amato for Liberty, simply go to the One America News site at OANN.com and click on the Rick Amato Show fan page. You can sign up for free right there for my newsletter. It comes to you by email weekly. Stay up to date on what's happening here on the Rick Amato Show and on the One America News Network, and get tons of behind-the-scenes information. So there you have it. Sign up for Amato for Liberty at OANN.com. All right, switching gears now. Where's the beef? The USDA is rewriting its nutritional guidelines, and the guidelines are full of the virtues of veganism. Or is it veganism? Veganism. You can tell how much of a vegan I am, or a vegan, and lacking on nutritional science. Joining me this time from Washington, D.C. to comment on this is Justin Danhof from the National Center for Public Policy Research. Justin, it seems like this is all about political activism.
Hey, Rick, there's nothing that the Obama administration can't make political. Even our favorite steak and potatoes, which are now falling out of favor. What the Obama administration has done is they've appointed a woman who is a food activist. We could almost call her a food czar if we weren't in a new Cold War with Russia, but that's another story. This woman named Angela Tagtow has been tasked with running the USDA department that sets the dietary guidelines. And this used to be a very non-controversial issue, but as I said, the president can make anything political and controversial. So instead of, evaluating what level of sodium, what level of protein, fat, and the like that we should have in our daily diet, the committee is now investigating things like urban gardens, federal bans on sugary beverages. I mean, this couldn't be more run out of the Obama playbook if you tried. It's almost as like Michelle Obama's school lunch program, and I think it's going to have the same effects. Most kids, when they get ready for summer vacation each year, they're happy because they get to spend time with their family and friends and go on vacation. I think this year they were just happy to get out of this Michelle Obama school lunch program and get away from that for the summer.
Justin, you mentioned this woman Angela Tagtow is a activist. She is encouraging individuals to promote green food habits, such as listen to this, folks. Such as she's encouraging American citizens to organize a food film festival and food book clubs. Justin, you mentioned the word food activist a moment ago. I want that to sink in with our viewers. The left, the far left, it wasn't always that way in America, but the Democratic Party under this administration, America has been wedged and polarized by just about every category you can imagine. Think about it for a moment. We are today divided by race. We are divided by gender. We are divided by gender preference. We are divided by income. And now we are divided by food preference. You used the phrase food activist. Had you said that a few years ago, I would have thought you were nuts. Unfortunately, it's what life is in America under this activist president.
Well, that's right. I mean, in California, as you know, there's shaming going on over if you have a green lawn or not because of the drought, right? If you use water to water your lawn, they're going to shame you. Well, not too far in the future, let me tell you, you're going to be shamed for eating that hamburger. You're going to be shamed for eating that steak. And that's part of what Angela Tagtow is doing at the USDA. They are looking at low-carbon foods, and since the life cycle that it takes to get the steak to your plate produces more carbon than it takes to get the salad to your plate, that's what they're investigating. It's all about this reduction in CO2 emissions to make everyone feel better, and it's not about health. And that's what's really important here, is that health should be the primary issue and the primary focus for the USDA, but instead it's now activism. And the USDA guidelines are used for education. I can think back to my school days. We had the food pyramid. Now we have the food plate. And a lot of obesity in this country, which is a growing problem, could be helped by education that is actually about health and not about activism.
How about common sense eating habits and exercise? You know, how about that? You know, let me just say this, Justin. You really set me off here. Not you personally, but your words. I'm angry. I'm PO'd. And I don't want our viewers to know. I am committed. As long as this show is on the air, and the ratings are going through the roof, by the way, as long as this show is on the air, I am committed to fighting the nut jobs on the left. Yeah, Michael Savage has it right. Liberalism is a mental disorder. I'm not saying all liberals are mentally inept, but liberalism is a mental disorder when you start having food activists trying to divide the American people by what they eat. It's disgusting. All right, I'll give you a final comment before we switch gears.
Well, it's just that it doesn't have to be a politicized political issue. The president is the one who's made the choice to do so. I think that's where we need to, the blame starts and ends.
All right, switching gears here. Another topic that you're following. It hasn't gotten a lot of media coverage, but it's worth noting. It's something that it's not real sexy, but it has substance. The architect of Obamacare, a gentleman by the name of Gruber, whose last name is Gruber, has done a flip-flop. Tell us about that.
Sure. So he had what he called a speako, which is similar to a typo, except you say it instead of write it, in his opinion. What happened was, as Obamacare is written and as Obamacare was structured, only subsidies that could be provided under the exchanges were those subsidies on state exchanges, right? So federal exchanges, individuals were not supposed to be able to get subsidies. Well, HHS, as they're wont to do with Obamacare, they just changed the regulation. And they said, no, of course on the federal subsidy you can get it. We wrote that wrong. Well, no. Jonathan Gruber is an MIT economist who is considered the architect of Obamacare. And on 2 separate occasions in 2012, he explained why specifically Obamacare was written so that only subsidies would be provided on state exchanges and not federal exchanges. It was kind of a stick, not a carrot, to force the states into adopting and developing state exchanges. As he explained it 2 separate times on video that we know of, so perhaps there are more times when he didn't say it on video, it wasn't captured on camera, but twice he explained that this was because the states would politically, in his mind, be forced to adopt exchanges. Well, as we know, that didn't turn out to be true. 36 states said the heck with this, and the federal government had to step in with exchanges in those 36 states. And why this has become a hot-button issue is because 2 federal courts, the D.C. Circuit and the 4th Circuit, have both come down with differing opinions on the legality of the federal exchanges. So the 4th Circuit upheld them as legal, but the D.C. Circuit, which is the primary circuit that deals with agency law and agency interpretation, determined that HHS and the IRS, that has the specific regulation on this, violated their norms,
right.
Violated the law, because Obamacare, as written, provides only subsidies from state exchanges. There is no allowance for federal exchanges.
Justin, in the interest of time, I got to jump in right there. I mean, just cut you short. I have to jump in. But this architect, this Gruber guy, bottom line is, he said one thing a year or 2 ago. He's saying the polar opposite now in terms of the financial structure of Obamacare. He's contradicting himself to what he said a couple of years ago. He's got 2 different parallel universes of reality. All right, thank you, Justin Danhof from the National Center for Public Policy Research. During this break, I'm going to have a lean hamburger from In-N-Out. Up next,